Hi everyone, and welcome to this little mini series on writing an analytical paragraph in relation to inner spectacles. We're going to start by looking at the first sentence of an analytical paragraph, which in lots of schools across the country is referred to as the point sentence. So that's relevant if you use this structure: point, evidence, explain, analyze. Some schools use the what, how, why structure, so this would be your what sentence. In other schools, it might be called the topic sentence. But essentially, it's the first sentence of your analytical paragraph where you explain your line of argument and you answer the question. In the next few videos in this series, we're going to be looking at providing evidence to support your argument and then how to explore why the evidence supports your argument. Let's get right into it then. So here's our example question. How does Priestley present Sheila as a change in character? Now, before you start your analytical paragraph or your P paragraph, you're going to have in your head where that paragraph is going. So you need your idea. So here's my idea for my first paragraph. Sheila is infantilized at the start of the play, but matures as the play progresses. And then you kind of need to have your evidence in your head as well. So I've chosen this quotation here, which is from where Sheila becomes engaged to Gerald at the start of the play. So here's my example then, my example of what a good point sentence looks like. And I'm starting with a bit of signposting. Now, if you think about an essay as a journey, you're taking your reader on a journey with you and guiding them through your thinking about the play in response to the question. And so the first thing you have in a journey is a signpost. You need to know where you're going on your travels. If you go into the city centre near where you live, you will see lots of signposts towards the centre of the city. I live in Durham, so those signposts are pointing to the cathedral, to the cinema, to the river, to the university, and it shows people where to go. Now, you're doing exactly the same job as a writer, except instead of showing someone walking around a city, you are showing your examiner or your reader where you're going. So I've started with the phrase throughout the play, because if I'm thinking about Sheila as being someone who changes, I need to think about the beginning and the end. So I'm going to think about this kind of overarching idea. So throughout the play, then I've got the name Priestley. Now, Priestley is the writer's name. That always comes next in our point sentences, and we need to make sure we spell it correctly. It drives examiners absolutely mad if you do not spell the writer's name correctly. It is printed on the exam paper. With Priestley, the things that people often get wrong are the IE in the middle and the LEY at the end. So make sure you've got those bang on. Then I'm going to use the words of the question to show that I'm really focused on answering the question that the examiner has set me. So Priestley presents Sheila as a changing character. Next comes the most amazing word in the English language. Do not undervalue this word. It is absolutely magic. So the word because. Now, it's such a good word because it forces us to explain our ideas in a lot more detail. And that's what you need to do in the exam. The examiner doesn't know what's in your head. They've never met you. They're not going to talk to you about it. They can't come back to you and say, what did you mean by that? The way a teacher would in the classroom. So you need to get into the habit of using the word because to trigger those explanations. So here I'm saying because she is initially infantilized by her parents, but she becomes more mature by the denouement. So that's my bit of explanation there in my point sentence. Okay, so here's some suggested signposts for you on the screen. Now, I divided these into two different sections. The first section is where we're looking at the section of the text. So at the start of the play, as the play progresses, at the denouement. So where in the play are you looking at? Or you might think about your signposts as which section of the argument are you looking at? So firstly, secondly, however, similarly. So those are just some suggestions to get you started for this next task, where you're going to be writing your point sentences about Sheila as a changing character. Now, I've done most of the hard work for you here. I've come up with the ideas and I've also got the quotations in there if that helps you as well. And at the top right of the screen, you can see the different elements that we need to include in our point sentences. So stop the video, have a go, write your 4-point sentences in response to this question, and then check that you've signposted, you've got the author's name spelled correctly, you've answered the question, and you've got the word because. Okay, and then in the next video, we're going to talk about embedding evidence.